Do you ever feel like your mind is constantly restless, anxious, unable to pause and truly rest? Maybe you've had sleepless nights where your thoughts spin endlessly, replaying the same worries over and over again. Maybe you've walked through crowded streets feeling empty inside, as if you're chasing something shapeless you can't quite name. Or perhaps your life looks perfectly fine on the surface, your job, your family, your responsibilities, but deep down, there's a quiet ache you can't ignore. A weariness that no amount of sleep seems to heal. An unease that no one else can see, but you feel it, deeply, every single day. In today's world, everything seems to be speeding up. Social media pulls us into an endless stream of content. Work demands quick responses and constant productivity. Relationships can feel fragile and uncertain. Our attention is pulled in so many directions that even taking a deep breath becomes something we forget how to do. So we go on living, or surviving, in a state of tension, constantly overwhelmed. Always feeling like we're not enough, not fast enough, not done yet. But here's the painful truth: the more we chase peace outside ourselves, the further we drift from it. Because real peace doesn't exist somewhere you need to get to. It's not something you achieve by controlling everything around you or escaping your current life. True peace is something you return to, it already lives within you. Beneath the noise, the pressure, the distractions, there is a still space inside that has never been lost. And it is to that very place within that the Buddha pointed us. The Buddha didn't give us a set of rules to blindly follow. He didn't offer empty promises of a better life somewhere far away. Instead, he gently invited us to turn inward. To observe our own minds. To understand the root of our suffering. And to begin transforming it, not through force or denial, but through awareness and wisdom. You don't need to become a monk. You don't have to leave your life behind. You don't even need to believe in anything. What you need is simply to pause, to take a breath, and to open your heart to the possibility that there is another way to live. A quieter, more grounded, more compassionate way. Today, we will explore 7 powerful teachings from the Buddha, simple yet profound insights that can help you find peace, right here in the middle of your everyday life. Each teaching is like a gentle light, shining into the hidden corners of your mind, the places where fear, stress, and insecurity quietly live. Each one is an invitation to come home to yourself. You may have never studied Buddhism. You may just be starting to explore mindfulness. Or maybe you're going through something painful right now that makes you long for clarity and inner healing. Whoever you are, wherever you are, and whatever you're carrying, you are welcome here. These teachings don't require you to be anyone else. They simply invite you to return to who you already are, underneath all the noise. Let each word be a stepping stone, guiding you inward, not to escape the world, but to awaken within it. Because the truth is, when you begin to change how you relate to your own mind, the world around you begins to shift as well, not because you're controlling it, but because it no longer controls you. Before we begin, I invite you to take a deep breath. Gently close your eyes for a moment. And ask yourself, am I ready to listen to the quiet truth within me? If the answer is yes, then join me on this journey of returning home to the peace that was always waiting for you, right where you are. 1. Breathing, returning to the present moment. The Buddha said, when one dwells in the breath, the mind becomes calm. If there is one companion that has stayed with you from the moment you were born until your final breath, it is your breath itself. Your breath has never left you. Whether you were joyful or heartbroken, strong or struggling, succeeding or falling apart, your breath was always there. Quiet. Constant. Unfailingly faithful. And yet, strangely, we often forget it. We remember our phones. We remember deadlines. We remember the people we love, and those who have hurt us. We remember everything we haven't yet achieved. But we rarely remember our breath, the very thing that keeps us alive, that connects us deeply to the present moment. And because we forget to breathe with awareness, our minds become lost. We drift into anxiety about the future. We become trapped in regrets from the past. We lose touch with the stillness of the now. The Buddha taught, when one dwells in the breath, the mind becomes calm. A short sentence. But within it lies a path to peace. The breath is not just a biological process, it is a doorway. It is a gentle invitation back to yourself. When you truly pay attention to your breath, feeling the cool air enter your nose, sensing your belly rise and fall, something subtle and beautiful begins to happen. The noise in your mind starts to soften. The spinning thoughts begin to slow. And for that brief moment, you are fully here, alive, present, aware. Why is something as simple as breathing so powerful? Because almost all of our suffering begins when we are absent. We are not truly living in the moment we're in. When washing dishes, we think about work. When eating a meal, we think about bills. When sitting with loved ones, we scroll through our phones. Life passes by, but we're not really there for it. And then we wonder why we feel so lost, so disconnected, so empty. But here's the truth, every moment holds the potential for peace, if you are truly present for it. You don't need to escape your life. You don't need to change everything. You just need to pause, and breathe. Breathe in, and know that you are breathing in. Breathe out. And know that you are breathing out. Do this 3 times. That's it. You have just practiced mindfulness. Breathing isn't about avoiding life, it's how you fully enter it. Each mindful breath is like a gentle whisper to yourself. I am alive. I am here. I am no longer living on autopilot. The breath anchors you in the present. And in the present, all of your fears, regrets, and anxieties begin to lose their grip. Because those things live in the mind, in imagined futures and replayed pasts. But the present is different. The present is always safe. Always real. Always within your reach. A simple practice, 3 mindful breaths. The next time you feel overwhelmed or off balance, don't rush to fix anything. Just pause. Close your eyes. And breathe. Inhale, knowing that you are breathing in. Exhale, knowing that you are breathing out. Inhale again, softening your shoulders. Exhale again, releasing mental tension. Inhale one more time, gently smiling. Exhale one last time, feeling grateful for this breath, this moment. That's all. 3 breaths. 3 minutes to return home to yourself. Every breath can become your refuge. Your breath is always with you, in traffic, during conflict, at work, in moments of sadness, or simple everyday busyness. Whatever the situation, the breath is there, a quiet sanctuary, waiting for you to come back. When you're angry, breathe in, recognize your anger, breathe out, don't react yet. When you're anxious, breathe in, notice the fear, breathe out, hold it gently. When you're sad, breathe in, embrace yourself, breathe out, let yourself rest. When you're happy, breathe in, savor it, breathe out, offer gratitude. Each breath is like a loving embrace, gentle, real, healing. The result, a quiet mind begins to bloom. You don't need to force peace. You don't need to try hard to be calm. You just need to breathe with awareness, and peace will arise naturally. Because when you are fully present, your mind stops being pulled by past and future. The racing thoughts lose their control. The fog lifts. And something deep inside you opens, quiet, clear, and whole. Your mind is like a lake. When the wind stops, the water becomes still. And in that stillness, the moon of peace reflects effortlessly. You begin to see. Peace is not found by solving everything. Peace begins by simply stopping, breathing, and coming home. 2. Don't believe every thought in your head. The Buddha said, the mind is the most skillful deceiver. Have you ever taken a moment to notice how many thoughts pass through your mind each day? According to modern research, the average person has between 60,000 and 80,000 thoughts per day. That's dozens of thoughts every minute, popping up, swirling around, then vanishing just as quickly. Most of these thoughts arise without our intention, without value, and perhaps most importantly, without truth. Yet, we believe them. And because we believe them, we suffer. The Buddha said, "The mind is the most skillful deceiver. Not your boss. Not the news. Not even the people who hurt you, but your own unexamined mind is often the one quietly generating the anxiety, the fear, the doubt, the stories that keep you from peace. Your mind says, you're not good enough. You're going to fail. They don't really care about you. You'll never be happy." And you believe it, without question. Even though these thoughts are often based on assumptions, projections, and habitual patterns, we treat them like unquestionable facts. And that's how we lose our freedom. The mind isn't your enemy, but if you don't understand it, it will control you. Like a monkey jumping from branch to branch. Our mind constantly clings to things, old memories, painful words, imagined futures. It creates entire scenarios, most of them negative, and we unconsciously react as if those scenarios are real. Have you ever let one passing thought ruin an otherwise peaceful day? If so, you're not alone. This is simply what an untrained mind does. Fear doesn't live in the world, it lives in the mind. The Buddha taught that most of our suffering doesn't come from reality itself, but from the stories we tell ourselves about reality. One person sees the rain and feels gloomy. Another sees the same rain and feels relief. The rain hasn't changed, only the mind has. The goal, then. When you begin to observe your thoughts rather than believe every one of them, you take the first step toward real freedom. Practice, observe. Don't react. The next time a strong thought arises, especially a negative or anxious one, try this. Pause for a moment. Acknowledge, I'm having the thought that. Ask gently, is this true? Or is it just my mind imagining? Take a deep breath. Let it pass without reacting. You don't have to fight the thought. You don't have to push it away. Just see it for what it is, a passing mental event, not an eternal truth. A thought is like a cloud passing through the sky. You are the sky, wide, spacious, unaffected. If you don't chase the cloud, it drifts away. The mind is not bad, it just needs to be trained. Like a child without guidance, the mind will fall into old habits, fears, and projections. It worries because it's used to worrying. It doubts because it has practiced doubt for years. But with patient observation and compassionate awareness, the mind can learn to be still. When your mind knows someone is watching, not with judgment, but with presence, it begins to settle. The key, don't trust the first thought. Just because a thought feels intense doesn't make it true. Just because a voice in your head sounds familiar doesn't mean it's wise. Next time a negative thought arises, try whispering to yourself. Maybe this isn't true. Maybe it's just a story. That one quiet question can break the automatic spell, the unconscious pattern of identifying with every thought, and create space. In that space, you can breathe. You can see clearly. You can choose how to respond. Remember, you are not your thoughts. This truth may seem simple, but it's deeply liberating. You are not the voice that constantly narrates your life. You are the one who hears the voice, and that awareness, that still presence, is already free. You don't need to get rid of your thoughts. You just need to see them clearly. And from that clarity, peace begins to emerge, not because your mind is quiet, but because you are no longer trapped inside it. The result: inner freedom. When you stop believing every thought that enters your head, you begin to breathe again. You no longer get pulled into imaginary dramas. You no longer act out of fear or insecurity. Instead, you live with space, space between stimulus and response, between thought and reaction. And in that space, there is freedom. The freedom to respond instead of react. The freedom to love without fear. The freedom to forgive without resentment. The freedom to see clearly, not through the fog of mental noise, but with the light of awareness. And you realize, it was never the world that caused your suffering. It was always your interpretation of the world. But now, you know how to return. You know how to pause. How to observe. How to choose awareness over automatic thinking. And each time you do, you reclaim a little more peace, a little more clarity, a little more of yourself. Free. Letting go of what you can't control. The Buddha taught, whatever cannot be changed, let it flow away. There are things in life, no matter how much you worry, pray, or try, that simply cannot be changed. The weather. Other people's emotions. Words that have already been spoken. Actions that have already happened. And even the uncertainty of what lies ahead. We often live under the illusion that we can control everything. But in truth, most of what happens in life is beyond our reach. The more we try to cling to it, the more we suffer. The more we resist, the more we become exhausted. Letting go doesn't mean giving up, ignoring, or running away. Letting go is an act of wisdom, recognizing that some things were never meant to be held. And so we simply allow them to pass. The only thing you can truly control is your own mind. This is the heart of the Buddha's teaching. You can't control what others think, say, or do. But you can choose how you respond. You can observe your emotions, instead of being ruled by them. You can choose peace, even when the world around you is in turmoil. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha said, "Greater than conquering 1,000 armies is the one who conquers himself." This kind of victory doesn't come from forcing the world to fit your desires. It comes from surrendering the unnecessary burdens, and learning to live more lightly. Why do we suffer? Because we want everything to go our way. We get angry when others don't meet our expectations. We panic when life doesn't unfold according to plan. We feel hurt when love isn't returned the way we imagined. All these forms of suffering come from a single root, attachment. We want to control. To hold on. To make things fit a certain mold. But life is impermanent. Everything changes, including ourselves. Have you ever felt tired from trying to control everything? Felt like you've been carrying a heavy stone in your heart without knowing why you won't let it go? The truth is, putting it down doesn't make you weak, it makes you free. Letting go isn't defeat, it's awakening. The awakened don't need to win every argument. They don't need to change others to find happiness. They understand that peace doesn't come from controlling life, it comes from deep acceptance of what is. Ask yourself honestly. How many hurts are you still carrying just because you haven't let them go? How many relationships are tense because you want others to change? How many nights have you lost sleep worrying about what hasn't even happened yet? When you learn to let go, you feel lighter. Not because the world has changed, but because you no longer cling to it. Letting go is something you practice, moment by moment. When someone criticizes you, instead of reacting, take a deep breath and simply observe what arises. When plans fall apart, instead of resisting, ask, what is life trying to teach me here? When a relationship shifts, instead of holding on tightly, offer a silent blessing and release it with peace. Every time you let go, you're building a powerful inner skill, freedom. Letting go is not leaving, it's coming home. When you stop struggling with what you can't control, you come back to yourself. Back to the present. Back to your breath. To the life that is unfolding here and now. You stop exhausting yourself by trying to manage everything. You let go of the constant should be and must be. You simply show up fully, and in that presence, peace begins to blossom. Letting go is an art, not an escape. There are wounds that need to be felt, not silenced. Tears that need to fall, so that the heart can finally breathe. Letting go isn't about brushing things off, it's about seeing clearly, understanding deeply, and releasing with awareness. As you practice this again and again, you begin to discover something extraordinary. You don't need control to feel safe. You don't need to be perfect to be loved. You don't need to be right to feel at ease. You only need to release what was never yours to carry, and care gently for what remains, your breath, your heart, your awareness. And then, you live, as light as a cloud. You still work. Still love. Still take action. But you're no longer bound by outcomes. You're no longer suffering over what cannot be changed. You're no longer lost in the waves of life. You become someone who moves through life without being moved by it. You're still in this world, but your heart is no longer entangled in it. And that is true freedom. For contentment, true wealth lies in knowing what's enough. The Buddha said, "One who knows contentment is truly rich, even if they own little." We grow up in a world that constantly urges us to have more money, more achievements, more recognition, more followers. But have you ever paused to ask yourself, when is enough, enough? The truth is, the more we have, the more we crave. And the more we crave, the more we feel we lack. Suffering doesn't come from not having enough. It comes from the feeling of never being enough. The restless mind that constantly chases, compares, and measures is the very root of our inner dissatisfaction. And that's why the wisdom of contentment is so essential. It's the art of living mindfully in a world of endless desires, of embracing what we already have, instead of forever reaching for what we don't. Discontentment, the silent illness of our age. You may have a beautiful house, a prestigious job, and a full bank account. But if your heart still feels empty, if you're always comparing and wanting more, then you're not living in abundance, you're quietly suffering. A person who doesn't know contentment sees lack everywhere. But one who is content can feel rich even with just a simple meal. Contentment allows us to live with more simplicity, more ease, and more freedom, freedom that begins from within. True wealth isn't in your wallet, it's in your mind. You might know someone who has plenty of money but an insatiable hunger for more. That's not peace. And maybe you've seen someone with very little, yet their smile is gentle, their heart light, they seem to glow. That's contentment. That's richness of spirit. Have you ever seen an old street vendor with kind eyes and a warm smile, selling just a few bunches of vegetables a day? That's what contentment looks like. A kind of wealth that can't be measured by possessions. Yet many of us forget that, in the noise of modern life. To be content is to put down the burden of endless desire. The Buddha taught, all suffering arises from craving. Desire itself is not wrong, but unseen, unconscious craving becomes a master that pulls the strings of our lives. You work hard for a living, and that's noble. But if you don't know when to pause, if you can't see the line between want and need, then life becomes a chase with no finish line. Contentment doesn't mean giving up your dreams. It simply means you find joy in each step, instead of waiting to be happy only at the destination. Practicing contentment, starting now. Gratitude, each night before bed. Name 3 things you're thankful for today. Watch how your heart softens. Stop comparing, everyone has their own journey. You don't need to be better than anyone, only kinder, gentler, and truer to yourself than you were yesterday. Live simply, eat just enough. Spend just enough. Sleep just enough. These small, just enoughs, are the secret to long-term well-being. Notice craving. The next time you catch yourself wanting something, pause and ask, do I really need this, or is it just a passing hunger of the mind? Contentment is a quiet strength. In a world constantly shifting, contentment becomes your anchor. When you live with a content heart, you stop needing to prove yourself. You stop consuming excessively. You stop chasing praise or avoiding criticism. You return to a grounded, gentle rhythm of life. The content person is deeply free, not bound by what the world tells them they must achieve. Contentment is presence. Even if you're walking a difficult path. If you can pause, feel the breeze, listen to the leaves rustling, take a deep breath. You'll realize, this moment, right here, is enough. You don't have to wait for the perfect life to feel peace. You can begin right now. As Thich Nhat Hanh gently said, happiness is available. Please help yourself to it. When you're content, you no longer need to chase. You sit down. You breathe. You enjoy a simple bowl of rice like it's a gift from the earth. You smile, not because someone praised you, but because something in you has awakened. You no longer live under the weight of needing more. You don't need to become someone else to be loved. You're just here, authentically, peacefully, and fully alive. In the end, happiness isn't about having more, it's about knowing when you already have enough. Those who live with contentment have less stress, less fear, and less need to prove anything. They may not have everything, but they have the one thing that matters most. A peaceful heart, rooted in the present moment. Narration suggestion. If you found these reflections meaningful, share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the Dharma Journey to continue exploring Buddhist teachings for a peaceful, mindful life. Let this be your gentle reminder. You already have enough. And in this very breath, you are home. 5. Being compassionate with yourself. Perhaps no one ever taught you how to truly love yourself. Maybe since childhood. You've learned that to be loved, you had to be good, well-behaved, successful, never disappointing anyone. And over time, you became your own harshest critic. You forgive others easily. But you hold on to your own mistakes tightly. Every misstep, every shortcoming, every failure, you carry them like invisible wounds, judging yourself in silence. But the Buddha once said, hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love, this is the eternal law. These words aren't just meant for our conflicts with others. They speak first, and most deeply, to our inner world. Because the source of so much suffering doesn't lie in the actions of others, but in the way we treat ourselves. You may believe you're not good enough. You compare yourself to others. You call yourself names, stupid, weak, worthless. And then you search for love out there, hoping someone will heal the pain, while you continue to hurt yourself with your own unkindness. Compassion is not weakness. It is courage. It takes strength to look at yourself honestly, without turning away, without judgment. It means recognizing that, like all beings, you too long for love, understanding, and peace. It means saying to yourself, I've suffered enough. Now I choose to be gentle. When you begin to practice compassion toward yourself, failure no longer feels like a punishment. It becomes a lesson. When you embrace your imperfections, you begin to understand the brokenness in others, and your heart softens. Like a river flowing without resistance. Start with small steps. When you feel tired, instead of forcing yourself to push through, pause and listen, what does my body need right now? When you make a mistake, rather than scolding yourself, ask gently, what part of me was hurting that caused me to act that way? And when sadness arises, don't run away, sit with it. Breathe with it. Whisper to yourself, I'm here with you. Self-compassion doesn't mean justifying every action or ignoring what needs to change. But it is the ground upon which true healing begins. Because only when you return to yourself, not with punishment, but with care, can you move forward unburdened by shame. And don't wait to be perfect to love yourself. You don't have to earn your own kindness. In fact, it is your wounds, your scars, your messy humanity that most deserve your tenderness. Look into your own eyes in the mirror, not to criticize, but to recognize, here is a person trying their best. I don't have to be strong all the time. I just have to be honest and kind to myself. To practice self-compassion is also to practice mindfulness. When you are present with your breath, your body, your emotions, you begin to truly understand yourself. And when you understand, you realize that you deserve gentleness. Not because you're flawless, but because you are human. There is no path that leads to love, love itself is the path. And that path begins within you. Right here, in this moment, with your breath, your awareness, your willingness to be kind. 6. Meditation, bathing the mind. Modern life often feels like a relentless current. From the moment we wake up to the time we fall asleep, we're swept into endless to-do lists, constant interactions, unfinished concerns, and emotions we haven't yet processed. Entire days can pass without us truly pausing, not just physically, but mentally. Eventually, we feel exhausted but can't quite say why. We feel empty, even when nothing seems to be missing. That's the mind calling out. It's asking to return home, to be cleansed, to be renewed in the stillness we've forgotten. Meditation isn't something distant or mystical. It's a return. It's a moment to stop and listen to yourself. Not listening to the noise outside, but tuning into the silence that's always been within. The Buddha once said, meditation is the only path to freedom. Not freedom of the body, but freedom of the mind, from restlessness, from anger, from the endless stream of thoughts and tangled emotions. It is the deepest kind of freedom a person can experience, and it's found nowhere else but inside your own heart. You don't need hours of silence. Start with just 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes, no phone, no past, no future. Just sit down, keep your spine upright, close your eyes, and breathe, slowly, consciously. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. Your thoughts will race. Your mind will wander. But that's okay. Don't fight them. Just notice. Let everything come and go, like clouds drifting across the sky. Meditation isn't about forcing the mind to be blank. It's about learning to sit with whatever arises, without judgment. You might think about work, about someone who hurt you, about a regret you haven't forgiven, or a fear you haven't named. All of these may surface during meditation, because meditation is the clearest mirror of your inner world. But that's the gift, it lets you meet yourself in the most honest way, without defense. Without masks. As you sit, breathing in and out with gentle awareness, you create space for deeper emotions to emerge. Pain may rise, tears might fall, and that's all right. This is part of healing. You're no longer running away from yourself. You're sitting with everything, holding it all with stillness and compassion. Over time, you'll notice you react less. You'll be less angry, less anxious. Less weighed down by things that once bothered you. Your mind no longer flutters like a leaf in the wind, it steadies, like the roots of an ancient tree. That's what meditation gives you, not magic. But quiet strength. Not empty promises, but real clarity. Meditation is like bathing the mind. Every day, we absorb so much, harsh words, negative headlines, subtle judgments, unspoken worries. An invisible pressure. If we don't cleanse this mental dust, it builds up. Slowly, we lose touch with who we are, what matters, and what we truly feel. But when you meditate, you return to yourself. Each mindful breath washes away a little of that dust. You begin to see things more clearly, and feel them more gently. You stop trying to control everything. You start to let go. You're no longer chained to the past or dragged by the future. You're simply here, present, open, alive. If someone asked, how do I find peace in such a chaotic world? The answer would be, meditate. Not to escape the world, but to wake up within it. Not to shut yourself off, but to open your heart. Not to reject your emotions, but to embrace them with awareness and kindness. Meditation doesn't promise to fix your life overnight. But it will slowly, gently, reshape how you meet your life. And that, in itself, is a quiet revolution. 7. Remember impermanence, nothing lasts forever. All things are impermanent. Joy fades. Sorrow passes. What arises will also fall away. The Buddha. At the core of Buddhist wisdom lies a simple but powerful truth: everything changes. The seasons shift, the body ages, relationships evolve. And even our deepest emotions transform moment by moment. Yet somehow, we often live as if things will stay the same forever, as if the good will never end, or the bad will never pass. We cling to the pleasant, fearing its loss. We resist the painful, dreading it might stay. And in that clinging and resisting, we suffer. Impermanence, anicca in Pali, is not a curse. It's not something to be afraid of. It is, in fact, the rhythm of life itself. Just as the ocean rises and falls, just as day turns to night, so too do all moments, good or bad, come and go. But we forget. When something beautiful happens, we want to hold on to it tightly. We want to freeze time, bottle up the feeling, and keep it forever. And when something painful happens, we feel crushed by the belief that it will last endlessly. This is where suffering deepens, not in the experience itself, but in our refusal to accept that all things change. The Buddha taught impermanence not to create fear, but to offer liberation. Because when we see deeply that everything is temporary, we stop holding life so rigidly. We stop expecting perfection. We stop fearing the future. Instead, we soften. We breathe. We let go. You lost someone you loved. Yes, the grief is real. But even grief shifts, slowly, like waves, until one day the pain doesn't sting as sharply. You felt deep joy recently. Beautiful, drink it in fully. But don't try to keep it forever. Let it flow through you, knowing it may return again in a different form. Even your identity, your moods, your thoughts, your self-image, is not fixed. Today you may feel strong, tomorrow vulnerable. Today confident, tomorrow unsure. This is not failure. This is life. This is impermanence at work. When you embrace this truth, something inside loosens. You stop blaming yourself for being too emotional or not consistent. You stop judging others harshly, realizing they too are changing, evolving, doing their best. You become more compassionate, not only toward the world, but toward your own heart. Impermanence doesn't mean apathy. It doesn't mean detaching from everything. On the contrary, it invites you to live more fully, more presently, because you understand how precious this very moment is. The laughter of a child, the warmth of a friend's hug, the silence of early morning, all of it is fleeting. And because of that, it is sacred. By remembering impermanence, you begin to appreciate the small things. The way sunlight filters through your window, the sound of leaves rustling, the fact that you are breathing, right now. Alive. Aware. And when difficult moments arise, because they always do, you can meet them with more ease. You'll know, this too shall pass. Not as a hollow cliché, but as a lived truth. The storm may rage for a time, but it will not last forever. The sky always clears. So the next time you find yourself overwhelmed, try this. Pause. Take a deep breath. Whisper to yourself. Everything changes. This moment, too, will pass. You don't have to force yourself to feel better. You just have to let yourself be present with what is, while holding the quiet knowledge that nothing stays the same. Even the most stubborn pain, when seen with mindful awareness, begins to shift. Even the heaviest heart begins to lighten when it remembers that no emotion is permanent, no situation eternal. Impermanence gives us the courage to let go. Let go of old wounds, knowing they don't define you. Let go of toxic attachments, knowing your worth is not tied to them. Let go of expectations, knowing that life often flows in ways we cannot predict. And most importantly, impermanence teaches us to love without clinging. To hold someone's hand, not out of fear of losing them, but out of deep appreciation for their presence now. To say, I love you, not because we're afraid time is short, but because we understand its very shortness makes those words even more meaningful. To show up each day, not expecting it to be perfect, but knowing it's a one-time gift. Impermanence is not something to be fixed or escaped. It's a truth to be lived with grace. And when you live this way, with open hands and an open heart, you begin to taste a deeper kind of peace. Not the peace of control, but the peace of surrender. Not the peace of having everything last forever, but of being fully alive in what is here, right now. So remember, joy comes and goes. Pain comes and goes. Seasons come and go. And that's okay. In this great flow of life, you are not here to grasp or resist, but simply to be, awake, aware, and deeply present. And in that presence, there is a stillness that nothing can take away. Mindfulness reminders, small shifts, big transformations. Sometimes, we look for peace in faraway places, in retreats, in spiritual books, in life-changing events. But the truth is, peace doesn't begin somewhere else. It begins here, now, in the very moment you are breathing. You don't need to change your whole life to feel better. You don't need to be perfect to be at peace. Sometimes, all it takes is one simple practice, repeated gently, sincerely, and with love. Below are 7 mindfulness reminders. Each one is small. Each one is powerful. And even if you choose just one to begin with, it can start shifting your inner world right away. 1. Breathe mindfully. Inhale, I know I am breathing in. Exhale, I know I am breathing out. When life feels heavy, come back to the breath. Your breath is always with you, soft, steady, and patient. You don't need a cushion or incense. Just pause. Place one hand on your belly. Feel the rise and fall. Even just 3 mindful breaths can help reset your nervous system. Even just one breath taken with awareness can pull you out of anxiety, anger, or autopilot. Your breath is home. It's the doorway to now. 2. Don't believe every thought. Not every thought is the truth. Not every story your mind tells you is real. The mind is a storyteller. It jumps to conclusions, replays regrets, imagines worst-case scenarios. This is what minds do, it's not your fault. But you don't have to believe every story. Try this. When a stressful thought arises, ask, is this absolutely true? Or gently name it, thinking, and let it pass like a cloud in the sky. When you learn to observe your thoughts instead of becoming them, you reclaim your inner peace. 3. Let go of what you can't control. Some things are just beyond you, other people's choices, the past. The future, the weather, the economy, the way things used to be. You can worry, resist, or fight them, but you'll only exhaust yourself. Instead, let go. Let go, not because you don't care, but because holding on is hurting you. Let go, because peace begins the moment you stop trying to control everything. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is no, breathe. And release. 4. Practice contentment, know what's enough. He who knows he has enough is truly rich. Lao Tzu. We're taught to always want more. More success, more approval, more things. But chasing more never brings lasting peace. True richness is knowing what is enough. It's eating a simple meal with gratitude. It's noticing what you already have, instead of what's missing. It's finding joy in small, ordinary moments. Try starting or ending each day by naming 3 things you're grateful for. You'll start to see how much abundance already surrounds you. 5. Be kind to yourself. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not the worst thing you've ever done. You are human, learning, growing, healing. Speak to yourself the way you would to a dear friend. Would you call them a failure for struggling? Would you shame them for being tired? Of course not. So why do that to yourself? Replace self-judgment with self-compassion. Say to yourself, I'm doing my best, and that's enough today. Tend to your own heart with gentleness. The world is already harsh enough, be your own safe place. 6. Sit in silence, meditate daily. You don't have to clear your mind. You don't have to reach enlightenment. Just sit. Close your eyes. Breathe. Watch your thoughts come and go. Feel your body. Be here. 5 minutes is enough. 1 minute is enough. What matters is consistency, not perfection. Meditation is like brushing your mind. You don't wait until your teeth are decaying to brush them, you do it daily, gently, to stay healthy. The same goes for your mental and emotional clarity. Each sit is a return. A remembering. A quiet revolution. 7. Remember impermanence. Nothing lasts forever, not the pain you're in, not the joy you feel, not even this breath. This truth can feel sad at first. But really, it's freedom. When you remember that everything changes, you stop clinging. You stop panicking when things fall apart. You trust more, hold things more lightly. And love more fully, because you know this moment will never come again. Impermanence teaches us to appreciate. To let go. To be here. When you're sad, remember, this too shall pass. When you're happy, savor it, knowing it's a gift. Nothing is permanent. That's what makes life so precious. Final reflection. You don't need to master all 7 practices. You don't need to do them perfectly. You don't even need to understand them all right away. Just choose one. Just begin. Maybe today you breathe with awareness. Maybe tomorrow you speak more gently to yourself. Maybe this week you start letting go of something you cannot control. That's how transformation happens, not all at once, but moment by mindful moment. Even if you practice just one of these things, your heart can begin to change today. You don't have to wait for peace. You can touch it now, in this breath, in this moment, with this intention. Come back to yourself. You're already home. Let's listen to each other, and walk this path of awakening together. Every teaching of the Buddha is like a drop of pure, cooling nectar, simple, gentle, yet deeply healing. And yet, the beauty of these teachings lies in how each one of us receives them differently. Depending on where we are in life, what pain we carry, what questions keep us up at night. A single line from the Dharma can land in our hearts in a completely unique way. For some, it may be the reminder. Nothing is worth clinging to, not even this body. Because they're in a season of loss, and letting go feels impossible. That one sentence becomes their lantern in the dark. For others, the most powerful moment is hearing. Just breathe. Be here now. Because anxiety pulls them into 1,000 worries about tomorrow. And this teaching, this gentle call to return, is what gives their mind a place to rest. So I want to ask you, which of the Buddha's teachings touched your heart today? Was it the reminder to let go? To be kind to yourself? To come back to the breath? To remember that everything, even pain, will pass? Whatever it is, I'd love for you to share it in the comments. Take a moment. Write what spoke to you. I read every single comment. And I respond with care. Because this isn't just a video. It's a space to connect, soul to soul. You see, this path, it was never meant to be walked alone. The Buddha spoke often of Sangha, the spiritual community. And in a world of noise and endless distractions, These small quiet circles we build online. They matter. They are part of the new Sangha, one that spans oceans, languages, and time zones. If this video has brought even a moment of stillness to your heart, if it reminded you to pause, to breathe, or to soften your grip on life, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Not out of obligation. Not to chase numbers. But because we are creating something rare here. A place to return to, again and again, when life feels overwhelming. A digital temple for the heart. By subscribing, you're not just clicking a button. You're saying yes to deeper presence. Yes to living more mindfully. Yes to waking up, one breath at a time. And if you feel called, share this video with someone who might need it. A friend going through something. A loved one who's struggling to slow down. Sometimes, a single teaching, a simple reminder, can be the beginning of healing. So once again, I ask, which teaching stayed with you today? Let me know in the comments. Let's begin this quiet, beautiful conversation. And above all, may you be well. May you be peaceful. May you be free.